Good morning, everybody. It's the 23rd of January 2022 today, and I wanted to talk a little bit about something that I didn't experience in this journey and of not drinking, and it's around getting a clearer head, which seems an unusual thing to say, really, although it's a consequence of not drinking as much. But getting a clearer head, getting a bit more clarity, and what it's started to mean for me. When I try and sort of analyse this, and over the last 6 months, as you know, nearly 6 months, I should say, I've not had any alcohol, whereas before I used to be regularly drinking every day and drinking, a fair amount, enough to change my state of mind, I guess, to dull my senses, I guess. I associated it with pleasure. I probably still do, if I'm honest, but that's the effect of it. And because of that, probably thoughts I had about all sorts of things, but particularly about my own sort of mortality and career. I'm 58 years old now, and where I want to go. I probably was able to push to one side because I was having a drink. And I suspect if you've got anything going on in your life, it could be problems in your relationship, it could be problems at work, it could be issues with your physical health or whatever it may be. One thing alcohol is very good at doing temporarily is pushing it to one side, because it numbs you, it sedates you, it changes your state of mind to the point where you sort of don't have to think about it, and or it doesn't come to the fore. And in the same way that it helps you go to sleep, albeit it's not as good a sleep as if you don't drink. So I think what I've noticed over the last sort of several months is how things that have been around and on my mind. For me, it's been around my sort of future and career. Those things are more prevalent in my mind today, and I definitely think more about the options, more about what I could do, what's really feasible, what I think I want to do. So there's sort of by taking alcohol out of my life, what I've simply noticed is there's just greater clarity, greater thought process around, in my case, about career and future work. But I can't believe it would be any different from any other issue that you may have going on in your life, whatever it may be. So I think that it's another benefit, as I said at the top of this video, that I didn't recognise that would come my way. Now, of course, in a sense, it's a disbenefit, because by not having alcohol in your system, which sedates or numbs your feelings, your thoughts, it means they're there more frequently. If I'm honest, I'd rather have them there than not have them sort of dumbed down in some way, because I think it does make you who you really are, and what you're really feeling and what you're really thinking, as opposed to somebody who's got these thoughts that's using a substance to remove those thoughts. And when I even say that, it sounds a surprising thing to say, because I wouldn't have thought of considering alcohol like a substance. I would have just considered it just a drink. But it is a substance, and it did have those effects. And I'm now starting to, and I have been for some time, but I started to recognise those effects, those negative effects, and the positive effects it leaves. But as I said, those positive effects can be, not negative, but they become more prevalent in your life. So it's an interesting position to be in. It's something that I didn't expect, but something I'm glad I'm in, because it's making me consider my future. I'm not that I'm unhappy where I currently am, and I probably could stay as I currently am for a period of time, but I'm starting to think to myself, you're 58, the clock is ticking. I know I've got some interest in certain areas, and I think, why hang around? You know, you've only got to frankly listen to the news, or maybe you've experienced it in your own family, or you've seen it on the internet, but life is short, and life has a real bad way of kicking people and taking these opportunities away from people. And I don't want to lose those opportunities by not taking action. So that's the sort of stage I'm at, and I suspect there'll be other things that will come to the fore as time goes on. But I'm really enjoying being challenged in this way. Say enjoying, that's probably too strong a word. I'm embracing, let's say, this new paradigm for me of having to think of these things, and what it means and what it doesn't mean, and where I'd like to be and where I don't want to be. And one thing I've learned, and I would apply this whether frankly you're drinking or not. I think if you're in a role, a job, a business that you don't enjoy being involved with at least 50% of the time, or more ideally, you're probably on the wrong horse. If you're somebody that is dreading going into work tomorrow, Monday, you've got to really start to question, am I doing the right thing? And of course, it's easy to say, I'll quit my job, but there's consequences to that. But I think removing alcohol from your life, if you do drink, will bring that to the fore, and it probably will push you into action more quickly than if you had alcohol in your life. So I would encourage people to try and remove it. As I've said before, we're still in dry January. If you're sober curious, as I've said many times before, if this video helps anybody, great. That was one of the purposes of this video. But there's plenty of other free content out there, and it really is good stuff that you can start to build your own future around. You don't have to pay for anything, just listen to people to start with. Listen to their experiences and see if it resonates with anything that you are thinking at the moment. And one of those things you might come across, certainly I recall people talking about clarity and thinking at the time, what really, that sounds like mumbo jumbo to me, but it hasn't been. And I suspect you'll find it will be the same for you if you have a period away from alcohol going forward. I think going forward, I'll give you an update to how that feels and what's happened to me, if anything. And in the meantime, maybe just put the drink down. Bye now.